Hey everybody, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments, and today I am doing a demo on the Windsor dies. So the Windsor dies come with this 5x5 die here with these 4 diamonds, and there's also little triangles around them, and there's these, I call them filler dies, to help you fill in the smaller spaces of the die easier. So there's 2 of these diamond shaped dies plus 2 little triangle dies to fill in those corners. Alright, now that we have been introduced to the dies, let's go ahead and get started. So right here I have the Sizzix Big Shot die machine, and this is the 5x5 Windsor die. I cut a piece of cardstock to be a little bit bigger than the die itself to make sure it gets a good clean cut. And I am putting in the die at an angle, although it's so big that I can't really put it in at that much of an angle. So if you have a bigger die machine, that'll be much easier for you. And of course, I'm rolling it through the machine. And if you haven't seen our past videos, we put the dies in at an angle because we find that distributes the pressure much better and you get a better cut, generally speaking. All right, I don't need all those little pieces, and you want to make sure you keep that frame piece that looks exactly the same as the Windsor die. So make sure you keep that piece. You need at least 4 of those, like I'm going to use today I'm going to be using this to cover the entire layout today. So make sure you save those frame pieces when you cut. For my layout today, I decided I wanted to cut some background pieces. This is the 5x5 die from set A in the basic die bundle, and this pattern paper is going to show through some parts of the Windsor die, and I figured I might as well just go ahead and cut it in one big piece, and then I don't have a bunch of little pieces to lay inside the Windsor die. So this is one method. Some people prefer to cut it into little pieces to save on pattern paper, but this is an option if you prefer to have, an easier gluing experience. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue down my first 5x5 Windsor die cut here. And I just have my Herma Dotto dispenser, and I'm just gluing along the corners, right in the center, and on some of these lines here. If you have any tips on how you glue down these dies, let us know in the comments below, because there's multiple ways you could glue this down. But the Herma Dotto dispenser is my go-to tool for adding adhesive to the back of die cuts. And I had that big piece of paper there, so I didn't get glue on the table or the grid paper. Because if you add photos, it annoys me when the sticky stuff gets on your photos. So that's mainly why I don't glue it directly on the grid paper. Alright, just now I glued down my 5x5 square background with the pattern paper. And I'm just going to show you real quick that you can also directly glue the Windsor die on the grid paper. And it's very easy in comparison to a lot of the other adventure level dies. This one is very easy to glue on the grid. It's a very sturdy die. So I haven't had much problems as far as distortion of the die. It's very sturdy, I think, because there's a lot going on in the middle there to support the die. So even though it's thin like the other adventure level dies, it'll glue down and it'll stick down to the grid very well. Now I'm going to glue down the 3 other pieces for my Windsor die layout. And for my layout today, I'm covering my entire layout with the Windsor die, but you may only want to use 2 on the page, so it's really up to you how many you want to use on your layout. But if you cut 4 like I'm doing today, you can create all sorts of different designs, and what's cool about the Windsor die is you can fill it in multiple ways. So I'm only going to show one way today, but you're going to have a lot of fun with the Windsor die because there's so many ways you could fill it up with your photos and paper. So in the end, this is what it looks like with all the Windsor dies. So for my design today, I'm going to be filling in the little diamond sections with different photos. And I did print my photos smaller on my computer. So the little diamonds measure about 2.5 by 2.5 inches. So you need to print photos at least to 2.5 inches wide. I put it at, I believe, 2.6 by 2.6 just to give it a little more room. a little more breathing room for the dye. All right, now I'm going to place my die on here. And remember, this is a square shaped die, obviously, if you turn it a little bit. So make sure you have it in the diamond direction, or else it's going to be sideways on the Windsor die cut. And thankfully, with the Windsor dies, there are 2 of these diamonds, so you can cut 2 photos at the same time, which is really great. It will make the cutting, 2 times faster at least. All right, so it's just that simple. And since I printed the photos on the same exact paper, I was able to cut them both at the same time very easily. So here's my 2 cuts, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of my photos, and I will be right back. All right, I finished cutting all of my little photos here, and now I'm just playing around with the placement of each one. Mainly, I'm trying to make each section look balanced. So that's my thing here, and I'm trying not to repeat the same things in more than one spot as well. But you certainly can place the photos however you want. Just have fun. This is one of the funnest parts. And when you're ready, so this is my final design, I'm simply going to glue the back right down the middle on the 2 little corners on each side as well. And so it's that simple to glue it down. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the rest of them, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm going to show you really quick how I cut with the little triangle dies, and I'm just mimicking the exact shape I'm going to be putting this pattern paper in. So in one little section, the triangles make this shape basically. Now, my pattern paper probably wouldn't matter that much because it all looks exactly the same and it's just flowers, but you may have a pattern paper where like a stripe or something where it might be more important to keep the dies in order, so that's something to pay attention to. And so here are my 2 little diamonds. All right, I have my page partially filled with these diamonds, and you can see it looks very different already. So this is what's fun about the Windsor die, is that you can play around and fill it up in different ways. So right now I'm gluing down the triangle dies. You definitely, with any triangle shape on the adventure dies especially, you really want to make sure you glue down the edges, like each corner down really well, because I find if you don't, the corners can stick up, and it will be in a page protector, so it'll probably be fine. But for me, I prefer if they don't stick up at all. All right, I was going to end with this design, but I felt like it needed a little bit more. I still feel like the outer parts look a little bit plain, so I decided to add just a little bit more pattern paper to these 2, I guess we'll say, mini diamond designs on both sides of the bigger diamond in the center. And there you go. It gives you a whole different look than it had before. Isn't that so cool? That is what makes the Windsor die so amazing. I love it. To finish my page, I'm adding a sticker right in the middle. And it says Explore Yellowstone because these photos were taken at Yellowstone, so I figured I would just add that in as a little journaling item. Alright, we have reached the end of today's video. Again, this is one way to fill in the Windsor dies. You could fill it in with little photos and pattern paper, but you can also take sections of the Windsor die and cut, larger amount of 4x6 photo with it as well and make a cool panorama and things like that. So you kind of have to explore with this die if you're ready. Really, if you're ready for an adventure, Windsor die is the die for you. So this is a fun one. Again, really fun. So many ways you can fill it up. All right. Let me know if you enjoyed this video by giving it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions about the Windsor die, please leave a comment or question in the comments below. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.